Hey everyone, welcome back to Manifesting Podcast, episode 2, the show where hustle meets hangout. I am your host, Harshit, and along with me, we have Praneeth. Today, we have an absolutely incredible guest joining us all the way from Florida. He is an AI engineer, a robotics builder, and a founder who is taking on one of the biggest challenges in the tech world today. He is the creator of Luna, a personal offline AI device which could change how we all interact with AIs. And also, he is also the creator of Comfy Space, which makes learning robotics easier. Yeah. Hey, Tom. Welcome to Manifesting Podcast. We are so excited to have you. And you are our first international guest.
I'm glad to be on. This is exciting.
Yeah. To start, could you tell our audience a little bit about where your journey as a builder and the maker began?
Okay, I think I was start in 2022. It was about time when COVID hit, and I was in college, junior year, doing mechanical engineering. And I remember I was dead broke. There was a plan for me to fly home to Vietnam to visit my family, but COVID happened. I couldn't go. I had just a little bit of money left in my pocket, and my career wasn't going anywhere. I wasn't getting the internships I wanted, so I ended up spending my last $200 on a Raspberry Pi 4 kit and some of the
Yeah.
sensors. I didn't expect much out of it, but it ended up becoming one of those most important moments of my life where I started building with it obsessively. Over time, I get my that's helped me get my first internship, where I helped with machines in manufacturing plants, and eventually I helped build a team to build this thing called FSAE. You guys are familiar? FSAE is like a F1 car, but for college kids, like a race, a big EV.
Okay.
And that led me to join Tesla for a brief moment. And
Yeah.
I always had like a big dream to be there. It's like a great honor to be there. But then I realized it didn't really fit me. So I
Oh,
found a different job here in Florida, funny enough, that does something else entirely to focus on let the building robots part of me be like a hobby thing, take a step back. That's when I started building a lot of these cyber decks and robots, which gave me the idea of comfy space. Comfy space actually began as a way to place screens in cyber decks. You guys know cyber deck? It's like a thing where you attach a Raspberry Pi to a screen and make a whole custom keyboard and everything. And then with user feedback, I realized it should be something different, which is what came into what's called a Comfy SSH. SSH is like a way to communicate with different devices on wireless network. For example, see in the back there's my old gaming laptop. I use it as my
oh,
server, and I control it for everything anywhere in the world. That's how SSH works. Um, Eventually, it became Comfy Space because I wanted to build robots, and that was the first time where I started learning to code. I mean, before that, I know some Linux, I know some Python, but being mechanical, I didn't really know much coding. And uh, and then I met this friend of mine, Ankit. He's also, I think, in India. Great
yeah.
design,
Yeah. I saw him in your videos. One of your videos, you introduced him and some other guy as your co founder.
right? And there's also Farouk. Farouk is a Canadian kid. I think he's like 12, 13. Very bright kid. He reached out to me. Well, Ankit found me on this thing called Build Space, where like you build things with people. And he's a very genuine guy. He just wanted to help out, and I was like, awesome. And Farouk, he reached out on YouTube because he was making this talking plant, for lack of a better word. And he was like, I need some help. I'm like, sure. If I'm very smart, just wanting to be on the team. Comfy Space took like a year and a half. Didn't go anywhere. So me and the team was like, let's build something else different. We have this wireless communication thing. What can we make out of it? And one day, let me see. This one's the original cars we made. I still keep it here.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
basic stuff, by the way. And Ankit, being the designer he is, he loves looking at research papers on robots. And it's these tiny robots in MIT he loves. And I was like, there's something there. I built it. Ankit wants to play with it. And so we set up a Discord thing and where he can use the app, he controls the robots through Discord call. It was horrible. Like it was like a 5-10 second delay. Farouk was confused the whole time. But what came out of it was like he had a genuinely good time. The kid really loved it, and he was like, "I should make a fight out of it." I'm like, "Sure." So we spent like about a weekend, yeah, week and a half, making it like a really seamless fighting experience, and then put it on YouTube. And after a while, we got like 100 players, and yeah, we went on sub program for about 4 more weeks until we end the program. That was so much work. That was fun though. And
Wow.
before running on further now, like during the whole time on the side, I was building a company with a friend of mine here in Florida, where we were building custom software and hardware for companies, for lack of a better word. And eventually we niched down to AI, built a lot of AI apps now. And yeah, after everything wind down, I finally quit my job last month and doing the business full time. That's why we're also building Luna. We're taking
Yeah.
all the cash from the business to do R&D for Luna, which it's a device that run AI locally, for lack of a better word.
So yeah, we saw you studied mechanical engineering, but your projects are full of electronics, software, and AI. Were these skills you learned during your college, or did you learn as you go while building products?
College wise, I think I can use like 1% of what I learned. A lot of it is just not useful, and I'm sure you guys are familiar with that. No matter where it is in the world, colleges are behind
Yeah.
now. The majority of what I learned is just from doing. And uh, yeah, I always tell people like I picked mechanical engineering as a major because I couldn't afford to do another major. I had a scholarship here, and if I double major, my dad can't pay for it. And I know I want to learn software, electrical and mechanical. The first two you can DIY your way through it, but mechanical is like the important part where you can't vibe code a design that will crash and kill somebody. So I chose mechanical there. Yeah, along the way, like I said, built a lot of robots, a lot of apps, little design from my friends, and how I build products. Eventually, become a much more complete person.
Oh, yeah. Thanks. And
Tom, you got an internship at Tesla, right? Which is a very big dream for engineering students. So, what made your application stand out? Like, was it a project or a skill? Tell us about us. Tell us about it.
So before Tesla, I was doing a semester in school. This class called senior design, where you can pick what you want to do. And like I was talking about, we were looking at a FSAE car. Like, let me see if I can share my screen. Can I
yeah,
share my screen? Uh,
yeah, you can.
that screen, share screen. It's pretty nice. Okay. FSAE car. So this is what it is. It's one of these. It's really fun. It's really
Oh,
complex. I had like a semester to make it. Of course, I didn't make the whole thing. Of course, not even in the whole school's history. No one ever gotten really far until we do. What I did
mm,
was the majority of the work was cutting these metal bars to the right shape and everything. And just as anything you see in mechanical engineering, everything is custom, everything is slow, and I hate slow. So I spent a lot of time in the machine shop. I left the team like, hey, dude, cut this like that, follow this way, do this kind of experiment in parallel. Just because I don't like people being slow. And I end up standing out on my resume pretty good. Funny enough, this class was meant to run for 2 semesters. Uh, I quit. That was the first one to finish Tesla. And the team did pretty good without me. So I'm glad.
nice.
How did you approach Tesla for internship? Like, was it through campus or any referral? Tell us about it.
Um, I just applied. Funny enough, at that time, I'll let you know, in 2020, Was that 2022 or 2021? Yeah, that was 2021. Also, I want to take back the story of Raspberry Pi for the first time was 2020. That was COVID. I got for Tesla at 2021. At that time, their whole system worked as follows: where they have the batteries made in China, yeah, Shanghai. They have their frames made in Fremont, California. They have some of the factories to assemble them together. So parts are different. So they're literally starting out building two factories, one in Texas and one in Germany. The whole purpose is materials on one side, car come out the other side. Everything is consolidated. So they're hiring for the Texas team. I didn't know the time. I just applied on the website, to be honest with you. However, I do, if people like apply for internships, which I'm helping a lot of my friends do, I highly recommend referrals. It just works so much better.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, what was the technical or professional skills you learned in Tesla, which you couldn't have learned in classroom? Like you said, you did not learn much in classroom, but you learned in through building projects. Right? What was those?
Funny enough, I like to say this. Tesla was the experience where I learned the least technical work. Um, how do I say this one here? Well, as an engineer, you come in, you expect yourself to design machines all day. It's like how do you expect a computer science major to code all day? To be honest, the majority of work is planning, understanding problems really carefully. Um, for some context, they were building out a new kind of Model Y where they want to have less parts in the car. So what happened is, think of this as the bottom of your car. That's all the batteries, and that's your seat. The only thing in the middle was a thing called a top cover, and that was the thing that's structural strength, and also very important. It makes sure you do not get tased to death. And I remember the requirement was if a Tesla will be hit by lightning and the battery goes wrong at the same time, the passenger is safe. So that's called I forgot what it's called, electromagnetic safety test, something like that. Now, that's the furthest thing you can think from a mechanical engineer. Like that's electrical, there's some software, there's a bunch of project management. So you get to learn to be a lot more flexible. You get to observe people. A lot of time you just spend time observing how these things run, and it's an opportunity. You don't get to do that in smaller companies because everybody's busy. They're trying to take advantage of you for something else. But at Tesla, you get to spend like days. We spent 2 weeks in Fremont, California, and one of those we could just be observing and like doing the job as the operators do it, and see how we can make it faster, and then do a bunch of experiments. Funny enough, it's like almost no mechanical work. If anything, it was very simple design of a stand. So I guess to answer the question, I learned to be much more flexible with what I define as my job. I learned to like
Okay.
real problems.
Yeah. Now let's talk about bento fights. Where did this idea come from? Yeah, for those of you watching who don't know Bento Fights is a community created by Thomas and his co-founders where you can remotely access bots which were set up in his room to fight. Yeah, it's like bot fights which you see in YouTube videos, but they made it simple so you can access remotely from your place and the important thing is it is free. You just have to register in his blog, so yeah, he will mail you when they are available.
Pretty much, that is the idea.
Like where did this idea came from?
Let me share my
Like I
screen.
really enjoyed the videos watching.
Yeah, let me share my screen. Oh wait, I'm gonna share screen. Right, share screen. I will give the audience a little bit better idea. Your bento is it's very simple. We have these robots. We have three of them. We put them on an arena, and we build an app. People will control it. I had a thing where I go on stream on YouTube. I let people come in, they sign up with an account, and I assign them robots to fight. The idea came from this actually. This screenshot here. I remember we had a
Yeah.
meeting we have when we're running Comfy, we had a Saturday night meeting. So it was Saturday night for me and Farouk, which is same time zone. It was Sunday morning for Ankit. But Ankit this week, well, 1 week was like, I just have this idea. I want to get out of my head. Can you do a call Friday night? Like, sure, man. Anything. So you can see like the sketches are really like details. This is who it
Yeah.
is. And the moment I see this, I'm like, okay, there is something here. So I just took a screenshot. That was the only thing we had for that meeting. And then let me see. And then let me see if I can find it. After I built that robot for him, because he loves seeing it. Did I do a live on that one? We literally like have this kind of thing. It was like very early on. This is like much later fight, by the way, but it gets the same vibe. We literally have him, and Farouk was just bored. And Farouk came on into the Discord call. We have a lot of fun. Like I said, the app was terrible. We were using the Comfy Space SSH, which literally calls to a server goes back to a 10-second delay. Horrible. But they had a lot of fun. And
Yeah.
Farouk was like, we need to make this a fight thing. I was like, sure, man, whatever. And Ankit was just focusing on making this a better experience. We never know what to do with it. We just post a YouTube video and we were like, hey, let's have this fight I want to play. And eventually, that's what it came to be. We had this really crappy robot in a very early version there. You know, it's like I always say, it's mirror after Perry the Platypus.
Yeah.
And then we officially started the normal fight. We had a thing where we did this is like very early version. We did an 8 hour stream. Not sure which one was the 8 hour stream, but because at that time I still have a job. My schedule is literally 9 to 5 to go to job, and 5 to midnight to do whatever I want, which is like streaming robots. So that day I was
Oh.
like, I just want to test how long things run, and I can't do it at night because I need to sleep. So I literally turn the robots on, set up the streaming, go to work. They can do whatever they want, and
Yeah.
the robot actually broke like 3 hours in, and it just lighter broken. That was fun. And it got to a point where I think it was the first fight where Aki was sharing with some of his friends in India. It was Sunday because they were going to church, and the kids started playing and sharing around with people in the church. I see the players go up. Kid you not, we're using this thing called Dolby. It's a streaming platform like sport. It's because really good real time. However, there's two pricing tier. The free tier get like 50 people. The moment you need 51, it costs you $500 a month. I was freaking out the whole time. Good thing we managed to fit multiple streams that was working. So that's how Bento started. And we just
Mm.
try different experiment, like different arenas, and we try to make it soccer for a while. No one really caught on to that, but it was fun. That's my current co-founders. It was like this how it began. Here's how it ended up. But yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's kind of how
So,
Bento.
yeah, when you were building it, what was that one non-technical skill that you had to learn? Like, was it video editing, promoting your video, or something else that everyone often overlook?
Hmm. Something important is how to take user feedback and iterate on things. Um,
Yeah. Okay.
like we have a lot of ideas. Like a lot of things. Like we change different arena. We're trying to make it a football fight with like a third robot. I mean, like that's like 3 out of 7, 8 robots we have. What really catch on is literally what the user asked for. They want a different kind of app. They want to put it on the phone. They want to a lower latency. They want to have more people playing. You get to learn how to listen for the key moments compared to the noise. Like a lot of people like when I see a lot of builders and engineers and even like founders when they're younger. Not that I'm that old, is that you see them doing a bunch of things where you're like, okay, focus on like 1 or 2 really important things that's obvious, working on that, and I think go very far.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you went from creating uh, combat robots to building a major AI project, right? Uh,
Mhm.
so what made you decide to take a big step in that career? Like, so can you tell us about Luna? Like what is Luna?
Okay, so Luna is basically this is the latest prototype we have. It runs all the AI models locally. So instead of calling the cloud, we call Luna. It's just that simple. It's like a private ChatGPT at cool people. And
Yeah.
because it's one-to-one to OpenAI API, you can do whatever you want that any AI app can do. The idea came last November 2024. So let me see, I can share my screen here. There's this store, I don't think we need to flash this part. There's this store in Miami, which is like 3 hours where I live, called Micro Center. I love Micro Center because Micro Center is the only place where you can get all the electronics in person, like Raspberry Pi, GPUs, or sensors, and you hang with people who like have the same obsession that you do. So and I've been to a Micro Center before, so I love it. So long story short, I drove my co-founder, my friend here, to Miami to show him the world that I live in. And we were talking, walking around, and remember, I still take a picture. He was trying out the Raspberry Pi, like it's pretty neat. And then he looked at the left side of all the server racks. He's like, if it's like text around, yeah, I'm like, yeah, man, like a lot more of those, but yeah, that's the main thing. Like that's really big. People can afford that. Uh, is it possible to make it smaller? I'm like, sure, I'll think about it. And much later, I was actually meeting such a friend of mine, Santiago. He's a Colombian entrepreneur. He was watching my video on the Rabbit R1, and he's like, "Hey, dude, can we make a device that helps kids in Colombia learn?" Because for some summary, people there do not have internet. A lot of them do not, like 50% of them do not have reliable internet, and a lot of kids live on the mountains and everything. So education is a luxury. We try a bunch of ideas. Like we try to build a radio network to get YouTube to the villages, and we end up like, hey, the local AI device works best. And then things are pieced together, and it was I think it was January that I decided like, hey, this is a project that's worth pursuing to build a local AI device. I spent 4 months learning everything I can about hardware, firmware, language model, and what is the ways to optimize it. And yeah, I eventually built my own stack and make this thing possible. Um,
Yeah.
I think we now got to a point where it's really functional. Like some of that we're building out the user interface to get to the first cohort of users, and it's good to have it here.
Yeah. Can you tell me, a major difference between, like, there are some local LLMs, right? Like Ollama and other. Can you tell me the difference between your device and Ollama? Yeah, I can download and install Ollama in my laptop and run it offline, right? Can you tell me a major difference between your product and local AIs?
So Ollama is what you call an inference layer. So when you try and run AI, there's three things. There's a hardware, there's the inference layer, and there's a model. And then you build an API.
Okay.
Luna is all three. Uh, of course, you can run Ollama on the computer and everything. It's great. That's actually how I started experimenting.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was a great entry point. But not every machine can run it. Like my laptop right now, I'm sure with
Yeah.
the and everything, it got like a gig of RAM left in it. Um, Luna just run independently. It also run really efficiently. So for context, right now, the majority of language model runs on GPUs. And the smallest
Yeah.
one you get is the just a nano. It's like 20 watts, 25 watts of power. The other way people try and run is OS2B, which is almost as like half as power consumption, but very slow. Because just CPU is not made for it. What Loon does is runs on NPUs, so it's very power efficient. I think it gives like 5 watts, and you don't need a fan. Like we had a fan before, which we tested it out. We forgot to put it in for a prototype. We just kept going without it. Um, that's all it is. The whole point of Luna is just its own independent, like its own server
Yeah.
and run the data job.
So yeah, what you're saying is it is independent of the device like Ollama. Like you can even use it in some basic specs laptop.
Pretty much.
Oh
Anyway, yeah.
yeah. Can you I mean so everything is updating, right? Can you update it periodically if you have sold the device? I mean, if a consumer buys your product, is there any way to patch updates or something like fixing bugs?
You can. You can. You
Oh,
can have like a thing where when you can collect the internet once in a while to get an update. A lot of what I see people actually do, like a lot of people are like sensitive with privacy. They actually literally like go back and they like shift USB with like they plug it in and it runs. That's always pretty funny.
okay.
Mhm.
Thanks.
So you told you are building your own LLM for Luna. So what are the skills required, and can you tell us the roadmap to build our own LLMs?
Okay, that's a good question. So let's take a step back a little bit. So Luna is it's three layers of it. Like it's hardware, it's inference layer, which is a language model is just a bunch of matrices, and humans have learned to map those matrices to sentimental, no, to like meanings in words. And the whole goal is, given this hardware, how do you run those mathematical operations as fast as you can? So that was the majority of my job, building the inference layer. Uh, I have been getting into building language model, and it's a difficult job. It's literally like you teach a kid by slamming at him like a thousand times of random knowledge and hope something good out of it. So when you do a language model training, there are basically two stages. One is post training, which is what you see the majority like GPT-3, GPT-4 are being done, where like you give it a lot of data, you have it run for 6 months, you burn billions of dollars, and you get a model out of it. There's a lot of iteration, but that's kind of the basics of it. So to do that part, you need a lot of GPUs, you need a lot of data, of course, and you need to have a way to architecting the all of the knobs to make sure the model work well. What happens a lot now, which is what I'm focusing on, is what's called post training, where given you have a model like like Llama, uh, one of my favorite is Quen. Quen is great. Also, it's Chinese. It's a great model. There's small LM by Hugging Face, so on. You take these models, which have like fundamental foundational intelligence, and you apply fine tuning on top of it to make it either give it more knowledge or make it better at certain tasks in the original base model. A lot of time,
Oh,
I spend a lot of time reading papers every day, and what you see is that um, similar how GPT-3 and GPT-4 gets really smart exponentially, you see the same amount of growth over years with a small model, and a lot of it comes from post training. Like if you see GPT-5 right now coming out, what a lot of the engineers say that as a GPT-4 time post pre-training was like the majority of the team, but now like over 60% of the engineering team are post-training people. And also post-training is like way less expensive. Like if you want to train a llama from Ghana, like a small one, 1 billion, you need about pretty lot amount of GPU if you rent it out, like $3,000-4,000 and pay like hourly. But fine tuning it, I got my old laptop over there. It's like a 1050 Ti kitchen out from 2018 when I first got to college. That thing's still running. I don't know how, but I use it every day to do that.
oh, yeah. Cool. So can you suggest a laptop for beginners who are getting into this space, AI space, which could, perform basic tasks? It need not to be high specs, but it shouldn't lag while training their models and machine learning models, deep learning models. Yeah.
I would actually recommend not getting a GPU. I would recommend renting a GPU. I spend a lot of time talking to
Yeah.
people with that. The reason is first, you pay for the hour. Well, time you have it.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can share the screen here. Share screen. Which one should I share? Is it on there? So I'm using this thing called Ori. It's a thing, a European company. We have like GPUs. So let me see. Let's see pricing in there. They should pay me for this. Um, like it's typical. See like certain GPU, you have certain amount of dollar per hour. You don't have to use a whole hour. These are like server grade GPU. You have I forgot what it was, but there's like a lot of different services. You can
Okay.
actually rent someone else's 3090 GPUs for like half $1 an hour. Uh, a lot of time you see like a lot of free credits happens a lot. I actually just applied for a grant and they gave me $2,000 of GPU credits. So like that's a lot of hours. I never use all of it.
Yeah.
So and like if you buy a GPU, you get locked into it. Um, but if you do want to buy a GPU, I recommend buying at least the 2000 series of NVIDIA because the firmware will support much better. My 1050 Ti, there's a thing called Triton that support like much more efficient training. But like its minimum requirements are 1080. I'm like, it's like right there. I'm almost there. Um, yeah, what you see a lot when you do GPU stuff is you see people answers to problem is just to buy more GPUs or rent more GPUs. Uh, I was at just at San Francisco for 2 weeks and talked to a lot of founders and people to see their experience. And what they share is like they get like 500,000 from Y Combinator, right? And the next week, what they do, they call up the cloud provider, give them half their funding, just so that they have GPU for a year. I'm like, you don't even know what to do with it. So don't run into that. And a lot of time you can get away with a lot less. You do a lot of optimization. But yeah, that's the gist of it. Rent GPUs. Try to be kind of frugal with the way you run your training models. Funny enough, to get you very far because everybody's just getting more GPUs. If you can be the guy who like, hey, I can get this GPU to run so much faster for something else, that's for an employer. That is a huge plus.
Yeah. Can you tell me your obsession with this, Raspberry models? You
Hmm.
bought almost every one of them and you made a project on everything and you had posted it in your YouTube channel, you know?
Yeah, my first Raspberry browser Pi 4. Just remember, I bought it and I tried connecting it to the Ethernet. Didn't work. I mean HDMI. I was like, hey, this one broken. Turns out it was not. I was using it wrong. But ended up they sent me a second one, which is great. And my second Raspberry Pi was the Raspberry Pi 02W. I love that device. It's just powerful enough and small and cheap. That's what Bento bought run on actually. And I think this one I got is a Pi 5. Maxed out all the RAM and everything. I love this thing. Um, and if you want to run like AI stuff, AI is a thrown around word. There are different levels of artificial intelligence on Raspberry Pi. You have the traditional, facial recognition stuff. Rectangle boxes, cat or not cat. It's pretty easy. It's been around for a while. I think I made a video on that. I didn't know how it works. I just like, hey, this is a cool tutorial. Let's make a video out of it. The second type is you just heard about these YOLO image recognition models.
Yeah, image recognition models. Yeah.
Those are also run pretty easily too. Those are the what's called pre-transformers era model, where what they do is optimize the algorithm pretty well to run. Transformer, which are like GP3, GP4, Llama, those are huge. Those are giant. Those are like complex matrices. For context, YOLO models are like a 20 megabyte file, or like a really big one. And, if you ever download a model, a 1 billion parameter is like 2 gigabyte. So you get limited to how much this thing can run. Actually, I think I did a test on it on the video. We're actually publishing a paper on that pretty soon. Without going too deep, the thing that limits these devices from running LLM very well is the memory. Memory bandwidth matters than anything because a lot of data moves in and out. So no matter how powerful your CPU is, if you have slow memory, there's a certain amount of speed you could get to. But it played a lot of fun. Like I think I tested out the 135 million parameter of small LLM2, the Hugging Face, run pretty well. So
So yeah, you mentioned in your blog that you have been accepted into Microsoft's Founders Hub. Can you tell us more about it? Like I I researched about it online. I think I found very little info that it was used to encourage startups and entrepreneurs, newly beginning entrepreneurs.
it's actually very simple. For context, Microsoft Founders Hub is a place where they give you credits, Azure credits like computers and cloud stuff, and if
Oh,
you get a premium, all that random stuff. It's actually very simple. You just apply for it. They're very easygoing. I just put in my name, my LinkedIn, and I think 2 days later they gave us the account. I see a very similar experience from everybody. They're not very judgy. So if you have a startup, have an idea, you need some credits, apply. I think, funny enough, while we were building Bento, I was running some cloud stuff and I forgot to turn it off. And the moment the credit stopped, I got a charge for like
yeah.
$300. I'm like, oh shit. Um, but they're very nice. They lower it down for me. So I
Oh,
highly recommend it. And if anyone has like wants to like apply for credits, there's kind of like 3 tiers of credits where you get the Microsoft Founders App is the easiest one. Uh, this next one is Google Cloud Credit. I think we got that one for the company, but like they have much more like comprehensive support. They actually call you up like, hey, how's your experience? Do you need credits on a different thing? We will help you out. And I think if you get some kind of funding, like a small seed round, they actually give you like $200,000 in credits. Doesn't mean $200,000 in money, but credit is good. Um,
okay.
so that's good. And then they also have a few programs with AWS. Yeah, they're scaling up the GPU stack pretty well.
Cool. Yeah. Can you give a single piece of advice to a student in their room who has crazy idea, just like you did, you know, to start?
Just build it. A lot of time, I help a lot of people build things, and I love it. That's what I do. Either it's people want to learn English, people want to, funny enough, learn to teach English. Folks who want to build an app for a bar. A lot of times people have struggle with starting. They're like, hey, I have to be this, I have to be that, I have to know this. No, you don't. You just build it. And people tend to complicating. That's the second thing. People tend to they tend to compare themselves to other things. Like if they want to build, I remember this lady was trying to build an app for people to find bars. Like in Florida, bars are a huge thing. It's a very it's a very diverse thing in Florida. So find the right vibes is one. And she was like on that idea for like 2 years. I'm like, what did you do so far? She's like, I don't know, just do some sketches. And to compare yourself to Airbnb, you have to always have these features. No, you don't. They just built the most bare bone thing, show it to people, get feedback, come back, do it again, over and over and over again. That's like the thing that I've seen a lot. Like I was analyzing all the startup in San Francisco, and funny enough, like the ones who are successful are just the ones who do that iteration over and over and over again and keep themselves alive in that process. Yeah, you don't run out of money. Like also similar to like how we built Comfy Space, how I built Comfy Space. I spent a lot of time just building a random stuff. I think it's important. The UI has to be good, the button has to be good, the server has to be on the whole time. No one cared. Simple as that. No one cared. We whipped up Bento the app in like 2 days. I literally gave Anki like, hey, give me a design, one controller design and one sign-in button. When you're in the app, you can't even sign out. There's no way to sign out. And I think some of the signing was like fake, but it works. People loved it. That was awesome.
Okay. Do you know about Lovable AI?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Lovable AI. It builds a website with a single prompt. Did you heard of it?
Oh, you mean like all these vibe coding apps?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I use a lot
You
of
know,
them. I use a lot of them.
it is an upgraded version to it. Like you just need a single cut
Mhm.
prompt, then it will automatically build a perfect website.
I've used a
So,
lot of
you
them.
know,
I'm actually
okay.
curious. What you guys experience building that with it? What's your experience? How do you
Yeah,
feel?
we had built a YouTube website, a website for a YouTube channel using it. You know, I just made some tweaks after giving the prompt to it. I
Mhm.
just asked it to make some changes, and recently it has been upgraded and it has been even more accurate.
Ah, yeah. Like there's a lot of these tools coming out here, and
Yeah,
like from my experience, we built a lot of apps, and I had a right recent client where we happened with an update, giant update, where the login was used to be manual because it's like some kind of important compliance stuff you have to be careful about. But now I want to make it so people can add other users programmatically. Normally that's a 2 day programming thing, and I hate it. It's like so much reconfiguring. I end up using Cursor and Cloud Code. It's a combination. It took me 3 hours, and I was happy the whole 3 hours. And it was good code. It was tested. It was everything. These tools are really powerful. Like I find out like before this AI thing, we actually built a website for a while. I hated it. We needed to learn the market and make money, but I hated it. Now I don't even touch that. You guys do. I vibe code all of my websites.
oh, cool.
It has been an amazing and insightful conversation. Uh, so, where can our audience follow your journey and learn more about Luna AI?
I think you can follow my YouTube channel, Thomas the Maker. I don't post as
Yeah,
often, but because I'm kind of running out of ideas and kind of busy all the time, I'm sure if anything big comes up, you'll be on there. But hey,
yeah,
Hashish and Praneeth, thanks for having me on. It's been a pleasure, and I wish you guys best of luck on your podcast career.
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right, bye.
Okay, bye.